Okay, I'm on page 610. We're doing 1 through 20 for today. Um, these problems are all pretty much the same idea. Um, there's not a lot of variation in them, so that's the good news. To kind of teach this idea, I'm going to start by doing number 1 and just kind of go through how this works and then do a couple other examples, and hopefully that'll be enough. Um, if you need more help, you can always email. You can look at the examples in the book. That might give you some extra help. You could, you know, look it up on YouTube or Khan Academy or something. There's a lot of ways you can get extra help. Whatever you guys think, how much help you think you need, um, you can get that. And you can always ask me, of course. I'll be happy to help. All right. Starting on number 1, it says x plus 4 times x plus 6. Okay, we have never done these problems before. What is different about this problem, say yesterday's problems? Well, there's 2 terms in here, and there's 2 terms in here. And the problem is, okay, when numbers next to parentheses means multiply, right? So we're supposed to multiply these 2 things together. Now, at the end of yesterday's assignment, we did a problem that was like something like this, and then we just did 3x squared times both of those. Okay, that was the end of yesterday's. So the difference on today's is we're not just multiplying by 3x squared times this, we're multiplying x times all this and plus 4 times all this. So really what's happening is it's a double distributive property. Okay, so to give you guys a visual, x up here needs to be multiplied by both terms in the second parentheses. But 4 also needs to be multiplied by both things in the parentheses. Okay, so let's start with the x. What is x times x? Well, that would be x squared. Okay, x squared, that's what x squared means. That times itself. Okay, and then I'll go here. What's x times 6? Well, we can't really do anything with x times 6, so you just call it 6x because we always put the number in front. And it's positive, so I'm going to put a plus 6x. Okay, so I multiplied x times both of these. Now I'm going to multiply 4 times both of these. What's 4 times x? 4x, and it's positive, so I'm going to put plus 4x. Okay, and then what's last one? What's 4 times 6? Positive 24. Okay, can I do anything else with this? Yes. You can always add and subtract like terms, and 6x and 4x are like terms. On this assignment, those 2 in the middle, if you put it in the normal order, those 2 in the middle should be like terms. So what is 6x plus 4x? 10x. So my final answer is x squared plus 10x and then plus 24. And that's as much as we can do, so that is the end. Okay, so that would be the answer to number 1. If you did that every time, you should get it right. But let's do number 5, I guess. X minus 7, x plus 8. Okay. They try to make up a trick to help you remember how to do this and make sure you get all 4 of those things multiplied. And they call it FOIL. FOIL is an acronym. That means each letter stands for something. F stands for first, O is outside, I is inside, L is last. Okay, what does that mean? Well, if you look up here at the top, when they say the first, this is what they want you to multiply together. What is the first? The first is the first term in both parentheses. So the x would be the first on the left parentheses, and the x over here would be the first on the right parentheses. So x and x are the first. So what is x times x? X squared. Okay, and then it says outside. What does outside mean? Outside means going outwards. So what values are out? That would be x times 8. You see that? Going outside, we get to x and 8. So x times 8, or 8 times x, is just 8x. And then inside's like the opposite of that. So we're going to go inside. What's on the inside? I see a, okay, if there's a minus in front of the 7, we should think of that as a negative 7. So I see a negative 7 times an x. That's on the inside. So that would be negative 7x. Since that's negative, I'm going to write it down as negative. And then the last, that's kind of the opposite of the first. So the first was the two x's in front. The last is what's in the back. So what's in the back is negative 7 times 8. What's negative 7 times 8? Negative 56. Okay, so this is kind of the answer. So it's x squared, positive 8x, negative 7x, and negative 56. Okay, so really we did the exact same thing we did on number 1. There wasn't any difference. They call this foiling. This is just a word to help you remember to get all 4 of those pairs multiplied. So you should have 4 terms in your answer. Just like last time though, remember those middle 2 are probably should go together, okay, because they're like terms. So I have plus 8x minus 7x. 8 minus 7 is 1. So I have a 1x in the middle. So I'll write it down here since I'm out of room. So it's x squared plus 1x, or you could just say plus x, and then minus 56. That would be the answer. So we didn't do anything different than number 1. Again, this acronym is to help you remember how to get all your pairs. It's really helpful for people who are just beginning, who haven't done this before. Once you do some of these problems, they do get much easier. It takes a little bit of practice. Okay, something else I want to look at is like number 13 and 14. So on 13, I'll put the FOIL over here to remind us. Okay, stands for first, outside, inside, last. Okay, 13 says x plus 6 squared. Actually, let me do 14 because it has a minus. That might confuse us more. So 14 is x minus 3 squared. Okay, so you can't just do square that and then that's the end. Okay, what square means is this times itself. So in other words, this problem is actually x minus 3 times x minus 3. It is a FOIL problem. So we have to do all 4 of those pairs like we did on the first 2 examples. So this is the actual problem. Like 13 and 14, actually we should think of it like this. Okay? So it's not just going to be x squared plus 9 or whatever you might put. It's going to be a little more complicated than that. So let's go again. FOIL first, x and x again. Okay, that's pretty commonly what happens. O stands for outside, going out. That would be x and negative 3. That would be negative 3x. Okay, inside, going inside, that's negative 3 times x. Be another negative 3x. Okay, just happens to be the same on these problems, 13 and 14. And then L stands for last. So the last in the first parentheses is a minus 3. The last over here is minus 3. What's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. So I'm going to put plus 9 right there. Okay, and just like the first 2 examples, those 2 are like terms. They're going to go together. What's negative 3 minus 3? That would be negative 6. So the final answer x squared minus 6x plus 9. All right? Okay, I'll do one from the last section that's not really anything new, but do one. It's a little bit slightly messier. Let's just do 15. 2x plus 1, x minus 8. Okay, so the only difference, I don't know if you guys can even tell what's different between 15 and all the other problems. They just put a number on the 2, on the x up here. The last problem just had x and x. Okay, this has 2x and x, so it's going to be slightly different. So when I multiply the first together, what's 2x times x? Well, it's basically like 2 times 1 is 2, and then x times x is x squared. Okay, so that's pretty much the only difference. Okay, outside, that would be negative 8 times 2x. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. X, don't forget the x. Inside, it's the next one. Inside, 1 times x, 1x. Okay, and then what did the L stand for? Last. The last 2. So that would be a positive 1 times a negative 8, which would be negative 8. So really the order of these do not matter. If you do it in the same order, so as long as you get all 4 combos multiplied, you still get. But if you do it in this order, they'll always have the like terms in the middle. So that makes it kind of nice. So up front, the answer is 2x squared. What is negative 16 plus 1? Negative 16. So you're down 16, and then you gain 1. So you actually come up to negative 15. So that'd be minus 15x in the middle, and bring down the minus 8. And that would be 15. All right, that's about as hard as it gets. And 1 through 20 on this assignment. All right, good luck.